Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. How will Erik ten Hag line up his Manchester United side this season? And we're talking tactics, philosophy, and also best 11, which I suppose means we're going to have to take a leap of faith on some of the signings that may have not come in yet and players that need to go. Erik ten Hag came into last season with a vision. David De Gea was moved on. I didn't agree with it. But clearly Ten Hag wanted to bring a ball-playing goalkeeper in who could sweep a keep and make Man United a threat in playing out from the back and a team that was resistant to being pressed. Mason Mount came in, but as we know, he got injured. And that became a problem for Manchester United's midfield. But the biggest problem were the injuries to the defence. A defence that was meant to be playing on the halfway line, pushing forward with the attack, pressing teams with Onana there to sweep, suddenly became a defence that changed every week and camped on the edge of the box. That was where it went wrong for Manchester United last season, and ultimately we did very well to win the FA Cup. So how will Ten Hag change things this year? Well, fundamentally, he needs to avoid an injury crisis, and secondary to that, he needs to have as many options as possible, because last year, as we saw, when we saw Martinez out for the whole season and we see Mason Mount out for the whole season, if it hadn't have been for Kobbie Mainoo coming through from the youth, who knows what would have happened last season. United will look to play a high line. We will look to press high up the pitch. We will look to suffocate the opposition, and we will look to, dominate possession, create chances, which to many of you will seem foreign at the moment, but this will be the philosophy and this will be the way that Ten Hag wants Manchester United to play. So how will Erik ten Hag look to line up in his Dream 11 this season? Well, Onana, obviously, in goal. And I think it's a big season for Onana. He made countless mistakes last season. The Champions League, some would say it's unfair to level it at him because it's a team sport. But if you take away just a handful of the mistakes he made in the Champions League group stage, Manchester United would have survived and gone into the knockout stage of the Champions League. There were also other errors. There were lack of confidence and inability to command his box from corners. All these things need to change, but we've seen a goalkeeping coaching change. And I also think if you provide Onana with a back four that wants to press high, who want to receive the ball, you will see the best of Onana. And I think we'll see the best of Onana this season. At right back, for me, Dalot still retains that position. Yes, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is on his way out and may well be gone by this point with Mazraoui coming in. Mazraoui will be a player that gives us more attacking threat, and I like that balance. I think as United fans, we spend so much time saying we need change, and then when change happens, we moan about it and go, well, Wan-Bissaka wasn't the problem, he's underrated. He was a problem because he's a defensive right back, and we're not Stoke. We're not Everton. We're not a team that's fighting relegation. We're a team that wants to fight for the top four. And to do that, you've got to score goals. And to do that, your modern fullback, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, has to get forward. So Wan-Bissaka going out and an attacking fullback coming in is logical to the way that we want to play. But Dalot will retain the right back position for me. Left back's more problematic. We don't know what solutions are going to come in there. We know that Malacia is unlikely to play. We know that Amas and Murray are probably not ready, which leaves Luke Shaw. For me, one of the best left backs in Europe when he's fit. But when he's fit is the asterisk. It is the question mark. If Luke Shaw is injured, what do we do? Because we go back to last season, we might be playing a right back at left back. And that's not balance. That's not philosophy. That's a plaster on an open wound. So United need to bring a left back in of the highest calibre possible to challenge Luke Shaw. But for me, Luke Shaw, when fit, will be our left back. Centre-backs, Lisandro Martinez is the most transformative left-sided centre-back in European football, and I'll argue that with anybody. Fantastic for Argentina in the Copa America, fantastic for Manchester United when he's fit. The amount of players that have said Martinez has been missed last season was incredible, because he's the guy that will take the ball off any goalkeeper. He will move it into the midfield, he will pass between the lines, and he will get that line up. On top of that, he's got that bulldog spirit. He's got that tenacity. He's got those leadership vibes. He's massively important, and he is left-footed. Right-hand side, well, look, Lenny Yoro's come in. Probably not going to be fit for the start of the season, but will be a player that I think will grow with Man United and eventually probably nail down that spot. But this is where De Ligt is important. Leadership, experience, and the ability to play in a high line, not only play in a high line, but play in a high line in a Ten Hag system. De Ligt was effectively born as a talented player in a Ten Hag Ajax system, and him over a Lindelof or a Maguire or an Evans enables us to play higher. Also very good in the air, very good on the ball. That would complete the back four for me. Into the midfield, again, it becomes a little bit problematic. Ten Hag tends to play a 6-8-10 in a bit of a triangle situation where the number 6 is central and deep, the number 8 is more in the middle but to the left, and the number 10 is more advanced but to the right. Traditionally, last season, this was Casemiro, Mainu and Bruno when everyone was fit. This season, I think it could be the same. However, I'm hoping that it is Ugarte, because we need a number 6 with legs, mobility, tenacity and consistency in the pass. And what we know from Ugarte is that he is very quick across the ground. He is very tenacious in the tackle, and his pass completion rate is very tidy. And United need that. They need somebody who can just do that job to the best of their ability at a level that will compete with the likes of a Man City and an Arsenal. I don't think Casemiro can do that anymore. I'm here to be proven wrong, but I think Man United want Casemiro out because of his wage and his age, and I think Ugarte is key for Manchester United in that position. Supplemented by Kobbie Mainoo, a season older. What an amazing season he had last year, by the way. He was fundamental to England. I don't care what anyone says. I thought he was an absolute game changer when they figured out their midfield with him in it. And obviously for Manchester United, as I previously said, if he hadn't broken through, we would have had problems. So Mainoo, a year older, a year wiser. Is he a 6? Is he an 8? He's someone we all appreciate. I'd stick him in as an 8. I think that's what he is. And then Bruno Fernandes would always be the 10. Mr. Available, robotic, but also fundamental leader of the team. So experienced. He has to be Manchester United's number 10. And I think Bruno, hopefully, has had a bit of a break this summer and is ready and raring to go. Up front, for me, still Rasmus. I think he had a very, very good season last year. It was a learning curve for him, but you know, sometimes those challenges can make you stronger. If he can stay fit, I think he's shown flashes at the end of last season, even in pre-season, that he can score those individualistic goals if he's given the space to do it, if he gets the ball early enough. And I think a year older, a year wiser, he's still only 21. We have got people like Xerxes there to challenge him and work with him, which I think will benefit him as well. You know, there's a lot of minutes in the Premier League. There's a lot of minutes in the Europa League. Rasmus does need somebody on to help him up front, and I think Xerxes offers that, but I would go with Rasmus up front, and we need to provide service to him, which takes us to the wingers, which is probably the most controversial area, because I believe that Erik ten Hag will go with Rashford off the left-hand side. Yes, there's been problems with Rashford. Yes, Rashford was poor last season, but Ten Hag from day one to day still backs him publicly, still wants him to succeed, and will still give him those opportunities. I find it hard to believe that Marcus Rashford can replicate last season again. He tends to do bad season, good season, and I think this season, there is no reason why he can't have a good one. If Marcus Rashford can get us 20 goals, we'll be in the top 4, and that has to be the aim. I'll talk about that in a moment. So I think Rashford's off the left, and therefore I mean that means it's Garnacho or Ahmad for the right. Now, personally, I think Garnacho should be on the left and Ahmad should be on the right, and Rashford should have to fight for his place. And hopefully we will see that rotation. But as of now, I think Garnacho is such an important player to Ten Hag. It's one of his players that he brought through. It's one of his players that's been really consistent. We mustn't forget with Garnacho that he's 19. We mustn't forget the overhead kicks against Everton and the key goals he scored in the last 2 years. I remember Fulham the season before last. It's a very important time, a late winner. He's got an old head on a young shoulders, and he's still got a massive ceiling that's not been hit yet. So I think it will be Garnacho. But as I said, Ahmad, Garnacho, Rashford needs to be a lot more freestyle. We need creativity, and therefore they need to be on their toes and rotated if they're not delivering. That's how I think United will line up under Ten Hag this season. Let me know your thoughts. What's achievable for this season? Well, if philosophy, formation and tactics all come in together, and we will have injuries, but if we can avoid major injuries like last season, then I think you're looking at top 4. That is what I think has to be achieved. Ineos have got to deliver in the last few weeks. We cannot go into this season with the same deadwood of last year. The likes of Scott McTominay, Victor Lindelof, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, Harry Maguire, Jadon Sancho, all have to be moved on. And better players need to come in that are part of the future, whether that's De Ligt, Ugarte, maybe a Gutierrez from Girona as left back to fight with Luke Shaw. These are the ambitious moves that will allow us to be ambitious. I'm looking at this season, if everything goes reasonably to plan, top 4 with Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. and a cup. Whether that's the Europa League, whether that's a domestic cup. That, to me, would be a very good season. Get your comments in below. Let us know what your thoughts are. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like for the video. I'll speak to you on the next one.